What's the additional 2 Apple iPads with retina display?
We asked them the price. They were telling us when they came down and they were looking at everything, they were giving us the different prices of what they would cost. The retina display is obviously the brand new, newest one. And so he went ahead in the quote and showed the price difference, 6 at the regular, and then he did 2 on the other. And that was basically just information-wise so that we knew the difference in the cost of the iPads.
You know, being as, I can speak a little bit knowledgeably about the web pieces of this. I mean, what Mr. Drew is proposing is some great things for the city, okay, but are not necessary simply for posting meeting minutes, and they're not necessary for establishing emails for council members. I think we can look at this project by project to what each phase would cost, or what each would do and benefit. You know, spending $3,800 and buying an $8,000 server so that we can set up iPads for the city council members to look at meeting documents is way more than we need to be doing. Okay, do we need to do that for other things for the city? Very probably, but not as a part of this issue.
Yeah, it's a piece of the bigger picture. Again, it was just an update today, just to let you all know that we are working on it. We are looking at every angle and trying to figure out ways to incorporate it, not only for you all, but for city staff and the citizens as well.
Okay, we're going to go on now to item 3E, City Manager's Update, citywide activities overseen by the City Manager. Andrew?
Mayor and council, the reason for this this item came out of discussion a couple weeks ago with citizens throughout our community. I wanted to make sure that the council was credited, and I don't think I need to do that. I think the work that they've done themselves on the budget and the finance is evident because of where we are on the insolvency plan movement. You know, your stringent directions to city staff were taken to heart, and it's made a big difference in where we are. So we appreciate that. I was going to ask for a round of applause for everybody for the work that they've done on that. In addition, one of the things that I get questioned on is, it's all good and well, they're saving money, but what's happening in the city? Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Well, I beg to differ on that. I beg to differ. I know that we've got a lot of stuff here internally as far as finances, as far as processes, as far as new policies and rules and regulations. Sherry Pollock and I took a drive today because I drive, of course, our town morning, evenings, nights, whatever, just to see what's going on. I like to see progress, and progress is what is happening in Floresville. This, of course, is 181. Before you get to the split between 181 and Business Loop 181, this sign right here says Downtown Historic Floresville. It's a sign that the chamber, I think, was responsible for putting up.
The FEDC put that sign.
FEDC? Okay. Well, we looked at it, and it really looks like it needs some repair, so I wanted to bring that to the council's attention. That may be something that you, as a council, can direct the city manager and staff during our budget to say, hey, what can we do to be more attractive? We did a walk downtown, and there was a little girl, and she says, I want to give my input. She says, why can't we have, like other towns, coming in that says, home of the Fighting Tigers, because everybody has a mascot. So that was one of the things that we looked at. We came up to the Y at Business Loop and 181, working with the P&Z and talking about the future, working with the council and talking about annexation and how far we're going to get. This landscape project was a project that the city and TxDOT worked on. So they've done some work in there. And lucky for us, there will be 2 years that they maintain that. It's got a sprinkler system, irrigation, and they come and trim and mow, and they've been out here recently. Lou's Patio and Grill. Sign, of course, is right after the Y to give visitors a second opportunity, and it tells them where to turn on that course, and that's another area that we may want to look at too. beautify as a city as time goes by. Several weeks ago, at the council's directive, we asked for the TIF board to have a meeting. We posted, we helped them out. We had a public meeting here. There was not a quorum, but I think Mr. Gibbs was here. One of the things that they brought was this, and I think it is displayed at the golf course at the restaurant. And it says, in the heart of the Eagle Ford, shows the complex or the subdivision, what their plans are. So we talked about what can the city council, what can staff do to help promote that some more. They do have some development, is that correct, Cindy, on permits for homes?
They're anticipating more homes to be built on the last parcel that was subdivided.
So that's still a process that this council is involved in and trying to work forward. We get to the intersection of 130 and Business Loop 181, and we can see off to the left, if you don't know, this is the McCoy's area. To the right is the Walmart and the new little strip center. Up in this area, and it's hard to see, of course, but we've got the gas station, we've got Hibbett's, we've got Route 21 store, we've got a liquor store, and then there's possible more development coming up. Again, the council has a hand in everything that goes on in this area, either through the P&Z board, through the Park Foundation, through the economic development. I'm sure you've been inconvenienced, we all have, with the work that they're currently doing at the McCoy's area for the turn lane there, but it's gonna be to the benefit of everybody. There'll be a lengthy turn lane to get people off the way that the traffic can continue. So this is a McCoy's project. They are paying for that. That's part of TxDOT's requirement on that. Again, McCoy's, they will be working on a pad site here for future development. This road construction, this is one of the city's maintainers. This work is done by our street department, and the right-of-way where this paving machine is to the highway, that's TxDOT right-of-way. McCoy's is responsible for that. So it's a joint effort between, again, EDC doing the boring and supplying the sewer, and then the city doing the street. This street will go to the county road back there. Do we know what county road that is? Okay. That'll be a new thoroughfare crossover from the Highway 181 to that county road for future development.
That's going to be called Wilson Drive.
That road is Wilson Drive, that's correct. Randolph Brooks, this is gonna be beautiful. You can see the portable building that's been there for a number of years. And right behind it, you see the great big new Randolph Brooks branch that's out there. It's gonna be an excellent, the McCoys and the Randolph Brooks are, again, partnerships that the city council has with our water corporation, our city water department, our city wastewater department, and the neighboring water company that has a CCN, and that is open. One of the things that's happening that we hadn't done before is we're partnering with them because they supply the water, but we supply the wastewater. So billing issues are being resolved on the Randolph Brooks and the McCoy's area and future development in that area. Good news, the old Walmart building that's been vacant for a while, seems to be like a truck stop. If you've seen how many trucks are parking there. A developer has purchased that building and has come forward and has visited with Cindy. They are planning they're gonna divide that building into several businesses. A Dollar Tree, Anytime Fitness is gonna expand, so they're moving for a bigger location. Cato's clothing store and a cheer gym in that area. So those are some of the things that vacant building is going to be utilized. Vacant buildings don't do anything for the city, so that's going to be a plus. Of course, there'll be some development. Again, the city council, through staff, continue to move our city forward in that. What is this picture? Sheriff Pollock said we pulled up into the median. These medians were given, or it was negotiated with TxDOT because of their budget cuts, that the city would maintain the medians. They would cut twice a year. That's it. So if you drove at any time, that grass was pretty high at times because their contractors would only cut twice a year. Our staff has been handling that now, our parks department, and they've been cutting and cutting as, you know, on a regular basis. And the medians are looking a lot better. They got commended by TxDOT and said those medians have never looked better. So it's a good project that the city's undertaken through the city council. The Holiday Inn Express is moving forward. It's tentatively scheduled to open on the first week of October. Is that correct, Cindy?
Yes.
Okay, you can see the development. That's going to be a great development because it's right next to HEB. We stay in contact with our hotels and motels in the community and say, well, there's more hotels, there's going to be less, that each of them are going to make, but they've been staying pretty close. So that's a positive. The Super 8 Hotel found out that they're going to be competitive with the other hotels in the area. They needed to build a pavilion patio area for the guests to stay. If they wanted to barbecue, they wanted to socialize. So they've added to that already in the short time that they've been open. This is a local business that's been here forever and a day, and that's the veterinary place, and the name of Decent. Decent has come forward, and after city staff were able to supply them with the information that they needed. And again, we're working on our premise department to increase staff to be able to be more receptive to any kind of questions that they get and be more responsive. And immediately, they will be increasing the size of their facility and providing further services. I just took a picture of the Highland Oaks Apartments. Again, some of the landscaping that was done with the council and the TxDOT's negotiation on taking over Beacons, the work that they've done. So, this is the area that Mr. Andy Banks was talking about. This is Paloma Drive, Veterans Home back here, the dance studio, and this is a piece of property that Cindy is currently working with the land company that will build something there. What is the name of the people? Do you know? Whitmire. Okay. Go back, sir. What is going to happen here? Why is the city manager given a report on that? It's an FEDC project because we're back to working together as always. We're strengthening our working ties. Our city crew are going to be laying the sewer line in this area so they can move forward. And that's again working with the FEDC on that. The Department of Human Services building that just opened, it's open for business. Right next to that is the new apartment complex that's going up, and that's moving forward. Again, these are FEDC projects, but the city always works with our subsidiaries to try to make things happen. So again, partnership between the city council and the boards, and work by city staff. Here is the entrance of the parks, and this was a contract company, and this was today. They're maintaining the landscaping out there for, like I said, at least another year and a half or so. The parks, one of the biggest things, I think the council priorities, said we've got to supply the parks to our citizens, but in a safe way. So Mr. Doug Jones and I attended a SARA meeting at the Justice Center, and he continues to work diligently through his board to try to secure funding for us to do the improvements that we need to. This area is still closed. We did meet with Sarah. They came and assessed the situation again. One of the negatives that happened recently with the flood, Wilson County wasn't part of the declaration that received money. So Bear County was, Wilson County wasn't, but the mayor has met with Sarah. I know Mr. Doug Jones is working on them to say, hey, just because the whole Wilson County wasn't declared a disaster, this area you can tell. So they've gone out there again to assess the situation. We're waiting on a response from them. Just wanted to show the Lions Park and the Parks Department working to maintain that. Dry as can be, we know that, so they're trying to water and keep that green for our children. I just took entrances, pictures of entrances into our city. This is 97 West, coming from Pleasanton this way, which is, I think, Councilwoman Rodriguez made a point to on our land use plan. This area is so close to the river, there's a lot of flood plain. So I think our growth that they're projecting is north and east. mainly, so, but there's plenty of homes in this area. Go ahead. The cemetery area, we've got a piece of fence that was left to be finished, that's gonna be completed here in the near future, and then it'll beautify this area. We've got fencing all around with the new apartment complex with some homes in that area, and then the new businesses. We wanted to make sure that that was finished, and the council, that's our priority. Again, this is the south entrance into our community, coming in from Karnes County. You can see La Quinta and other development, and we're making sure that we maintain our median. Go ahead. This is the east entrance into the city, and this area is one of the ones that they project that the city can grow. So we've got to start looking as city staff, and we've got to make sure that the city council is aware that we have to work in this area to make sure that we develop it and beautify it and make sure that we're prepared to annex whenever we need to in that area. That's just a picture of our tractor, the new shredder. We had an old shredder that was falling apart and wasn't doing the work anymore, so he's happy with that piece of equipment, so he'll maintain our medians even better.
Is that a new tractor as well?
No, that Massey Ferguson has been, with the city, it's still very reliable, but the shredder needed to be worked on. So for the citizens and anybody that has any question about what the city council is doing for growth, there's plenty of it. You know, they're coming, people come in because they see, turn that on. I've got to show them something real quick, and then I will finish my presentation. While we're driving around, we saw this bus at the golf course. And then we drive around and we see the bus at the Blue Casa Village. So what's this bus doing in town? So, never being shy, our city secretary said, well, I'll ask him. Went in, asked the bus driver, what are y'all doing in town? He says, well, we got a group here and we're going around. He said, well, can you give us an on-camera interview? We have a city council meeting tonight, and we'd like to let them know what's going on. My company really won't let me, this kind of deal. He says, but the organizer is in this vehicle just next to me. So we went and we got her, and she was more than happy to say what was going on. So we are gonna, need to put this by the speaker. It's short clip, but
Holly here, and we'll let her explain to you. She's got a husband that's out in the golf course, and she's bringing some ladies into town to shop. Turn it over to Holly.
Hi there. My husband is Louis Germans, and he is the manager of golf operations at a Riverbend Golf Course. And my company, Arousal Petroleum, decided to have a golf tournament out at the golf course, and we're from San Antonio. So they let us get approved for the golf tournament because if they don't want to play golf, we're allowed to go shopping, and I'm taking them around to several of the little boutiques here in Floresville for now.
Awesome, thank you.
and we will. The city secretary said, you know, could you give us a on-camera interview of what's going on? You're a golfer and you're familiar with the area. She said that her husband was the person running the golf area there at the golf course. Her company was an oil company, gas company, I think that they said. They had a golfing tournament or group get together down there. The wife said, we don't want to go play golf or whatever, we want to go shopping. So they jumped in this bus and they went through shop after shop downtown. So to me, it's a positive and a good reflection on this council, of course, and you as a community that people want to come in and they actually have something to do in Florida. Play golf. One day you're going to teach me how to play golf. I think I'll like that. But
I got to learn first.
but the ladies are out spending their money in town, so that's good. You know, if they're in a bus, they've got a number of people, so that's a plus. I just wanted, again, to commend the council and make sure that you know, that we know, that other than the finances, which is the biggest thing you've accomplished as a group, that our city is growing, and people are noticing, and people are wanting to come. So that was the reason for this.
Let me ask you, Mr. Johnson, I had a citizen ask me if if you could put up a flag right there, there's a flagpole right there in the main light. And he really wanted a big one, so he's looking up and looking for one. He said, I don't care if it costs me $5,000. I got some friends in there. So right now, we don't have the money to buy a flagpole or everything, but see what we can do for you. But he said that he liked the way the flag looks in bold, and he thinks we ought to have maybe, I don't know, maybe one at the Y somewhere where it's coming in, or here at the, I don't know what text I would say, but
Sure.
he said he was willing to get with his friends that he had. It's Trini Martinez on the mechanic. He had told me, he said, you know, that flagpole sits there, there's no flag on it. And I said, for some reason, I don't know why there's not a flag, or have we ever had a flag there?
Never, we started and we put that flagpole with the intention to put a flag, but we have to have a light on it if it's gonna stay up.
And then another thing, my Uncle Steve, the electrician, said that if we put the flagpole up there, Trini does, or whatever, that he'd go over there and donate his time to put a light shining the flag, so. But I don't know, he said he was gonna look into a bigger pole maybe, but I don't know if TxDOT will let us allow us to put a bigger pole, but it would be nice for us to have.
Sure, they would be, okay with that, we just need to make sure that the light goes. And I'm glad that your uncle wants to volunteer his time, because our sign, the light doesn't stay on.
Yeah, that's what somebody will tell me, you know that sign don't light up, I said, I don't know, I really never know
And I
that.
think that there's several issues, and I think I can solve the issue with the sign without too much difficulty or cost to the city. I want to echo what you said, Andy, that, and this meeting is an example of that. If we look at this agenda, and as I said at the very, very beginning, when we have organizations like the Peanut Festival Association, organizations like the Polk Little League, organizations like the Wilson County Patriots participating in the success of this organization. We saw this in the reports from the 4A Corporation, moving forward, being enabled to do things. With the 4B Corporation, being able to accomplish things towards a common goal. And many of the things that they have accomplished, although much frustration and much discussion, we are moving forward with the Parks Foundation. And as Mr. Jones said, you know, there's $8.5 million out there waiting to be matched up to help improve things. We see this land use plan and the zoning ordinances that are going to come as a result of it, which has been the effort of everybody. This is a great city, and through the efforts of the council, through the efforts of city staff, and most importantly, through the efforts of its citizens, we are moving forward in great big leaps and bounds, not only financially, but in how we see our city and how we are improving. And I think everybody should be thanked and appreciated for that success.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you had a landscaper there at the river. Is the contract on a monthly, weekly, annual, and what little bit of money we have in the foundation? Is the contract cost that we could pay for the services and reduce your burden of that landscape?
Right now, TxDOT is handling that, but we can surely find out what company it is and how much they pay, because we'll assume that responsibility in probably another year and a half.
Yeah, so that would be something that we would have to
Sure,
look
at
at.
that time, we can look, and I'll make sure we get the name of the people, the contractors, and pass that information on to you, and I'm sure the council would be more than happy with the Parks Foundation. with that.
That's a mission.
Sure.
Good presentation, Mr. Jonathan, and thanks to all city employees too, that want to help you do this presentation and keep up the good work.
Don't worry, I'm not putting it
You're not going to case that one?
Madam Mayor, we need to do the positive. Give us some more annexation here right now.
Everything we do, Mr. Rosenberg, is positive. We're going to go on to 4A, new business. Consideration and action to approve an ordinance annexing sparsely occupied area on petition of area landowners as described in Exhibit A to the City of Floresville, Texas, finding that all necessary and required legal conditions have been satisfied, providing that such area shall become a part of the city, that the owners and inhabitants thereof shall be entitled to the rights and privileges of other citizens and be bound by the acts and ordinances now in effect and to be hereafter adopted, further providing for amending and correcting the official boundaries of the city as heretofore adopted, providing severability clause and providing for said ordinance to take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. Cindy.
Again, Mayor, we're at this point now where the annexation is in ordinance form. And the information that I can tell you is, McCoy's is planning to open on August the 12th. And they do have their certificate of occupancy at this time. So, they're ready to go.
I have one question on this, and it's not relating to the ordinance, but it's relating to an effect of the ordinance. Andy, have we coordinated with TxDOT that once this ordinance is passed, when the city limit sign can be moved, and when the speed limit can be reduced coming into the city of Floresville?
No, we haven't, Councilman, but we will, move quickly on that.
I've spoken to Tim Lovatt, and he told me that when they've got the annexation ordinance, that's when they will move the sign, and that's when they'll, I guess, do the population.
Then, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the ordinance as read and deliver a copy to TxDOT tomorrow.
Right now.
Who
Right
accepted
now.
most of the parties, the cuts?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Rodriguez. All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mayor, if I can get you to sign it, I think we can get the text out right there.
Okay, and I believe our last item will be 4C, consideration and action to approve an additional state of Texas co-op purchasing program. Laura?
Well, this is just another, we've actually approved a couple of other resolutions for joint co-ops. This is actually through the state of Texas, which joined, this allows us benefits, pricing that the state goes out and bids for. And so we just get to piggyback on everything that they go out and get bids for.
And this requires council action for you to do this?
Yes, has to be a resolution, attached.
I saw the document. Okay.
Yeah, there's a resolution, actually, it needs to be, it should approve a resolution.
Sorry about that, Laura. Plan cuts.
Yeah, yeah, actually has to be done by resolution, so. Even though we're a municipality, we're into the state, they still require you.
I reviewed the document. It looks appropriate, very similar to the last co-op that we did. Counselor, did you have a chance to look at that resolution? Any comment?
It's consistent with what we've been doing by participating in these various co-ops, so we can get that by.
Is this comparable to the buy board?
Same thing.
It's actually a little better, yes, I mean, now everything that the state goes out and bids for, we have access to.
No.
Buy board is not, they go out particular for specific items, so, but it's the same kind of thing. There are more vendors in the state of Texas, though. This is actually the
I'll
state.
make the motion to approve the resolution as stated in the agreement.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Miller. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
What would be the first thing I would purchase with, in order to go out and work on that?
Well, I don't know that we'll just purchase a specific thing right away, but it's very possible to do any kind of computers for the next upcoming budget. Like well, we actually do have, talking about a media for the service department. We can go through, Dell through the state, and it's really, really quite cheap to get a laptop, I mean, a regular desktop for like $400. So it's a huge benefit. One of the things we talked about in the budget workshop was fuel cards, going to the state of Texas for fuel, and we don't pay, the taxes that we pay now on fuel and diesel, because we'll be exempt to the state. So there's a purchasing system for the blue card through US Bank. That's one thing we'll be bringing back. And then if you go on the website, there's just so many vendors, you can't even do that.
Okay, with no other questions, meeting is adjourned at 10:10.